Welcome to the Top 10 Garden Show with Ken Lain. Listen to Ken's tips, tricks, and garden shortcuts guaranteed to make your gardens more beautiful than ever this year. Now, welcome your host, Ken Lain.
So there is a right and a wrong way to plant. Actually, I guess there's not. You can just chuck it in the ground, pray for the best. But what you'll find here in Arizona is you have to be more exact. You have to be, there's less room for error. Other parts of the country, you can just kind of get it close, and it's so easy to grow things. The topsoil is so thick, the humidity is right. There's less extremes between daytime and nighttime temperatures. It's just easier. And so I could probably throw this microphone down the ground. It'd probably grow in Michigan or Minnesota or California. Here, not so much. You need to be more exact. And so you're taking a plant, and no matter what it is, the roots grow sideways. They don't go down. There's nothing for them to go down to. So that mythical taproot does not exist. Not here in Arizona, at least. Other places, yes. Here, no. And so it's going to go down about 18 inches, maybe if you're lucky, 2 feet, 24 inches. It's going down inches, not feet. Then it hooks, and I call it the big hockey stick. And it just starts growing sideways. Just the taproot's there, but it grows just underneath the surface of your gardens. And so it's looking for the next wet spot, moisture, food. It's looking for the flower bed, the lawns. It's looking for your neighbor's trees. So if you know that's how plants are going to grow, encourage it to grow that way. And so you dig a hole when you're planting, let's say, a big aspen tree or new maple. You want this beautiful shade tree back there with this great red color in the fall. Great plant for here. Look at the Prescott Blaze Maple. Fantastic tree for here. And so that plant grows sideways, just like we said. It'll go down about 18, 24 inches and then grow sideways. Multiple roots going sideways. Dig the hole the same depth as your bucket. You don't have to go down very deep. And then dig it wide. So go about 3 times the width, kind of saucer shaped. And here's the insider kicker. I know the plant has to get used to your garden soil, but we want to help it. We want to encourage it to grow, to get started. And so all that rock and debris and junk and old roots and all that stuff's got to come out. So anything bigger than a golf ball, screed it, get it out of there, screen it, get that stuff, get that junk out of there. You're left with the native soil that's there, and it's junk too, but we can amend that. And so the problem with these bigger rocks, bigger particles, bigger roots is they heat up in this summer heat and they roast the roots. And so you want to get rid of that stuff. They're too big to hold water molecules. And so you want the smaller particles in your garden around those root balls. That's what you're after. And so screen some of that. Some of you won't have soil left. I mean, some of you are going to hit you poor folks up that Copper Basin. You get some of that going up towards Groom Creek, these great big boulders. And so you get done digging this boulder out and there's no soil left. You might have to bring in some topsoil. But most of us are going to have some soil left and we can work with. From there, very few of you have living, breathing soil. Most of you have dead soil. And so you're going to have to reinvigorate. And you're going to have to encourage the worms, the mycorrhizal colonies, and the beneficials that live in the soil that tickle the feet of plants and want to get them to grow and root. You have to reintroduce that into your gardens. And the way you do that is you add some organic material. It doesn't have to be a lot, but it has to be some, because most of you don't have any. You just have clay, caliche, and junk. And so if you can add a bag of premium mulch. Now, you folks from the Midwest, mulch is called like bark chips, not bark chips. We're not talking that. Mulch in the West is called compost. So a composted wood product not manure, that's too hot at the root level for new plantings. A compost or premium mulch is what we call it here. Is that amended into your soil? That's going to really activate things. It does 2 things. One, it keeps the soil from compacting right back down to that hard clay. Or if you're out towards, let's say, you're a Talking Rock and that granite Inscription Canyon, out towards Granite Mountain, the soils are very granity. They're sandy. It holds the moisture and they'll actually act like mini sponges. So either way, clay or sand, it helps your soil. helps the roots get through that soil, and you get a faster root growth. You get a faster root kind of mass. And the faster you can get the roots, the better off you are. And so you're digging the same depth, 3 times the width. You're adding about 25% mulch to your native soil. It's not, don't go crazy, but you need some. Or about 1 shovel of mulch to every 3 shovels of native soil. That helps you too. Blend that all together, backfill around the root ball, and that's how you're going to plant things. Now, there's no food in your soil, so you might take a handful. You should. You definitely need a handful of all-purpose plant food, organic food around on top of the root ball. That way, every time you water, the drip system runs or it rains, you get a little bit of food just released. Kind of gets things to grow, and also the worm organics, animals like worms, mycorrhizal colonies of fungi, they don't like chemicals. They get burned off. They actually leave. They evacuate that area. But if you use organics, they're drawn into it. And so organic food with like bird guano and cottonseed meal and some good stuff in it, they like that. So it helps the plant roots grow, and it helps encourages the natural things that grow in the soil to your plant. And there's a symbiotic thing that happens with the plants and a living soil. And then I'll water it in with Root and Grow. Now, Root and Grow is we make a compost tea. Again, we're anti-chemical here. We like organics. Here at Waters Garden Center, I'm all about organics. And most Root and Grow products are chemicals with some hormones in it. It just stay away from that stuff. You shouldn't be drinking it. Neither should your plants. But a compost tea is like magic for plants. It's about 3 tablespoons a gallon of water. You add it to your watering can. You just you soak it all in. It helps plants. They're going to freak out when you put them in you take them out of this bucket they've known their entire life, put them in your soil that's terrible. They are going to freak out. This helps them with transplant shock. And so it helps to activate the soil and stuff. So it's compost. It's working with the soils, but it also helps soothe the roots of your plants. And so whenever you plant something, you need 3 things. You need some compost. So we call it premium mulch. You need some food. So organic 744 all-purpose plant food, and you need Root and Grow every time you plant. Well, what about my flowers? Ken? I don't need that for perennials. Every time. A new shrub, every time. A new rose, every time. New trees, you need 3 things: compost or premium mulch, Root and Grow, and fertilizer. So those 3 things. If it's a tree, you probably want to stake it, especially if it's a bigger tree, especially if it's a shade tree or fruit tree, because they're like big parasails. They catch the wind, they start leaning, they get tossed around for about 1 year. Leave the stakes on. Then next year, this time, you can take it off. So, but for now, you want to keep them growing nice and straight. And so that's how you plant things for maximum growth. And so if you've planted something, shortcutted things, sometimes they struggle and they take a long time to get going, if they ever get going. The other one to watch, this is the poor folks in Phoenix. Oh, you folks down there, I mean, who lives that close to the sun anyway? That's crazy. It's 119 today. That's nuts. Up here in God's country, we don't get that hot. And so we don't rain harvest. There is no rain down there anyway. It's a desert. Up here we do have rain, but we want to plant that. The top of that root ball should be exposed. You should see the top of the root ball of your plant when you get done. Don't bury it, and don't plant it in a divot or a hole. Keep it at soil level or even a little above, especially for you folks out that 69 corridor, the valley areas. It is some hard clay. If you're down towards the Verde River area, that's got that silty kind of stuff. It just doesn't perk as fast as you want it to. There you want to be at soil or even a little bit above, so a kind of slight mound, ever so slight. If you do that, you are going to have a plant that just takes off. Not only that, but your worms are going to take off. You may not see a worm when you start digging that hole, but you will when you get done. Within a month, you're going to have activity going on in that soil. That's what plants like. We juice our plants with mycorrhizal colonies. So we're actually putting it in the water so that every single plant here at Waters Garden Center has mycorrhizal, the beneficial things that attach themselves to roots of plants so you get better roots. Anyway, it's technical, but we know you're going to need it. If you use this technique, it like juices the plants so they grow even faster. So it's all about the roots. Get them rooted, and you've got a successful plant that grows fast. We'll be back with more garden tips, tricks, and garden hacks right after this.
Water's Garden companion plants for July are hibiscus, purple verbena, crepe myrtle, and sensation maples.
Sensation maples grow fast. The spring leaves erupt with soft reds that quickly mature to a refreshing green for summer-long shade.
Autumn, it unleashes a brilliant display of red leaves.
Where this maple really shines is in the areas with challenging garden soils.
The picture-perfect tree to line driveways or shade a patio.
You'll only find Sensation maples here at Water's Garden Center in Prescott.
You're listening to garden expert Ken Lain. He can be found throughout the week at Water's Garden Center in Prescott. Thanks for tuning in to the Top 10 Garden Show.